जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम 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 राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय 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 राम ओम श्री हम
Have you switched on?
Yeah, everything went just now. It went off. Maybe that is different connection.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om.
Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om.
Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om.
Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om.
Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody.
Pranam.
Hari Om, Pranam Swamiji.
Just before our coming here, Papa made us to dwell on the efficacy of chanting. The question was, we have been chanting for decades. Why is it that we have not become aware of His presence? Simple. We enjoy chanting Ram Nam. At the same time, when we stop the Nama chanting and when we deal with men and matters, we are unable to hold on to the fact that He is behind everything. That is what is called remembrance, constant remembrance. So through Ram Nam chanting, we have been aspiring that we will reach that stage. Papa gave us so many clues, but somehow at the time of chanting, we are unable to hold on to those attributes. So how to make it effective? Because this is a fundamental question, no? Just like the day for yesterday, it was mentioned that every moment of our life we have to remember Him. During our year-end program, through the book With My Master, Papa revealed to us how to train our mind to become attuned to Him every moment. We have heard it, but still unable to hold on. When somebody asked, what is His will now? Immediately he was able to say spontaneously, Ramdas, his will is that Ramdas should get up now, go to the carpenter's shed and come back and sit in Panchavadi, wait for the evening meal. That means any activity, anything that is happening, it should be attributed to him. So he has reached that, Papa has reached that stage. So he gives us a clue. Don't think that will is something different, Whatever we are doing, including the words, now it is coming, Even that very act, So in order to train our mind to bring in this dimension behind every word that we utter, every act that we do, every thought that emerges, Papa says, take to chanting. That is how he could scale the height. We are also chanting. Not for 1 or 2 days. Many of the elderly people here, they might be having this chanting for the past 5 or 6 decades. No? We are all in that same category. But still, can we say that we become conscious of his presence throughout? So this is the fundamental question, no? Being a spiritual child of beloved Papa, this is the fundamental question. What is it that I should do along with my chanting? How to make it effective? Effective in the sense, how to make it help us to remember him throughout. And one by one, we will get the reason. We have to ask ourselves. No? We don't look up to anybody else. Papa has given so many of his experience that will serve as some hints, no doubt. First of all, we have to hammer, keep on hammering, that chanting is for remembrance, chanting is for remembrance, chanting is for remembrance. Then we watch what is happening in our while chanting. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Do we remember him? Answer may be yes or no. But if it is yes, anytime I chant, I should remember him. Is it taking place? We have to check up first. And the clues given by Papa is simultaneously with the chanting, we should keep on suggesting to ourselves that we are chanting the name of one who is within us, who is the core of our being, who is making us to chant. We are chanting the name of one who is within us, who is the core of our being, who is making me to chant. Will it be possible to carry on with this while chanting? We have heard these words of Papa, many a times. Now we are asking ourselves whether we were able to do it. If the answer is no again, how to do it? We have to try so many methods. One method could be before chanting, we prepare our mind with these. In between chanting, so somebody is leading the chanting and we are following it. So we get a gap. During that pause, during the period, can we bring this? After chanting, can we bring this? I have been chanting the name of one who is within me, who is the core of my being, and who made me to chant. So before, in between, after. That means immediately after the chanting, the mind will not plunge into its usual ways of thinking. Before chanting also, we will be at pause moments and trying to recollect these words. In between chanting, also we try. Is it possible? We have to try. One clue. Another clue is, of the total 16 or 17 hours of the waking state, how much time we spend for chanting? When we are at home, when we have so many preoccupations, it might be for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, at best 15 minutes. When we go to ashram or temple, we may spend more time, that's all. But normally, by and large, we 10 to 15 minutes in a day. So what we do, what we think, what we talk during the non-chanting time, it has its own influence on effective chanting. Because the positive or negative vibrations, attached to these thoughts, words and deeds, that will overweigh in our mind even though the chanting is going on. So even during the 10 to 15 minutes chanting, if it has to become effective, Pujya Swamiji used to mention in his memoir in 2003 that he was not following the usual chanting prescribed by Mataji. So he was chanting, we have also not seen him chanting. So then he says, even if he chants for a short time, it will be with full of this, so the impact of which will remain even during the non-chanting time. When we plunge deep into it, how is it possible? This 10 or 15 minutes chanting, if it is intense with the right perspective, it will have its impact on the rest of the time. He has proved in his life. So it is not that it's a tall talk. So we try to now understand whether it is possible for me to try this, to have the impact, to have that while chanting, we try to bring in the right perspective. In Papa's word, attuning ourselves with him. Easy to say all these words. Let us try to understand the meaning of these words in the way in which we can understand. Think. So what we do, suppose it is self-centered. Suppose it is dominated by all our lower passions. Then the chanting will not become effective. Categorically, he says that. And though we have not attained, Papa gives one more clue. That is the goal we have to attain. What is the goal? God is making me to repeat His name. Another clue. Where are you going? I am going for the Ram Nam session. No? Today is my Ram Nam. People normally with all love and devotion they used to say that. They mean it. Not in a negative way, positive way. But we continue to hold on to it. Whether whatever we may say outside, do we feel God has given me an opportunity now to intensely chant His name through a session allotted by Him through His vehicle. So when He says, I am going for Ram Nam session, today is my Ram Nam, immediately at the back of that word, do we remember that God has provided this wonderful opportunity for me to sing His name, to chant His name? Papa, in a clear-cut way, he says, each one has to devise some method. It can't be general. Each one can read for oneself if he examines his mind, what he is thinking, desiring. If there are cravings, desires, hankerings, do you think the mind is in tune with God? So many people admit, I am repeating the name, but mind is wondering, what can I do? The cause is, he thinks he is doing it. He must be humble enough to admit that God is doing it. Not merely saying it orally, but feeling so. It must become a consciousness. Whenever he is told that he is repeating the name, at once he must be able to say, God is making me repeat his name. Our sufferings are due to the assumption that we are doing everything. So we are asked to surrender. I am nothing, O God, you are everything. So we must pray to him so that we may remember him. So outer activity should be in line with our inner aspiration, which is to remember him. Bringing the attributes during the chanting, before the chanting, in between the chanting, after the chanting. Trying to feel that we are chanting the name of one who is making me to chant, who is the core of my being. Meaning, we are in touch with the core of being. The sound comes from that. When we say Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, the sound comes from that base, which is the core of our being. And another word Papa says is, he is making me to chant. That is, a God makes me to chant. No? So the outer activities, it should go along with it. Otherwise, it will become. We have understood now from our own experience. There could be so many reasons, but these are all some of the reasons on which now he directs our attention from to all those things. Why is it that when he was able to do it in 2 years' time, I have not been able to do it for the past 50 years, 60 years? I was involving in, I was engaging myself in Ramnam chanting as a routine, or I enjoy it during the chanting because I am carried away by its tune, accompaniments. Is it so? Something is there, otherwise I will not continue chanting all these years. But now the question, that part we have covered now. Getting habituated to chanting, enjoying it during the chanting, all those things he has made us to become a reality in us. But now the question comes is whether after the chanting, which is very, very limited period, have I been able to remember him? Which is the crux, which is the very purpose for which chanting is undertaken. So each one has to find out bluntly. Papa says, Ramdas has already said that when we are repeating the name of God, we must be conscious that we are repeating the name of one who is within us, who is our true being and existence. We must keep this central fact in our mind when taking his name. then the practice will gradually make us aware of his existence within us. At the beginning, we are not aware of this, but we intellectually accept the idea that God dwells within us and we take his name. The association with him is there mentally, and it grows into an experience when we actually feel his presence. By constantly hammering into the mind, that God whom we aspire to see is within us, and the name we repeat is his name. In other words, the Nama chanting goes on, taking all these, dwelling on all these aspects. What are these aspects?
God is within me and He is making me to chant.
He is making me to chant, number one. Pinna? Huh?
He's all pervading.
He is all pervading. Then, are we in a position to keep up that, no? Are we? Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Are we in a position to bring that? This way we have to try, trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. Or a simple faith. All these things are not necessary. Simple faith that what I am chanting will definitely take me to him. What I am chanting is definitely to make me aware, although to take him to him. Then that means every chant makes me to move a little more closer, little more closer, little more closer. A simple faith. And different tunes we employ. Though it is nice to hear, the ultimate result we should know whether we are in a position to remember him. In a chorus chanting, all these are valid. Tunes, speed chanting, everything is valid. But at that moment there is a special vibration that will develop up. But for our individual sadhana, when we are chanting it individually, if we are in a position to bring, because the chorus chanting, it may not be possible. Five or six people are chanting. Each one's perspective may be different. Each one's mindset may be different, so it may be difficult. So we go along with it, and there is a joy in it. It will not be in vain, definitely not. But during our individual chanting time, when we are alone, and suppose he is prompting us to chant for a required time or a required count, in the midst of various activities. Suppose, if we are in a position to bring this dimension, 1 or 2 or 3 dimension, and slowly we will get concretized, stabilized in it. And with this stabilization, when we join the chorus chanting, it will definitely help us. Otherwise, what happens? We know our so far life lived. We enjoy during that particular time. Immediately after coming out, if somebody says something, we get, upset. Even while we take part in the chanting also, if somebody says something, we get upset. We hardly think that God is making us to chant, God is making us to get disturbed, God is making us to become passive. The remembrance aspect is not there. It is not getting stabilized. So here, today, Papa wants us to, each one of us, to spend some time on evaluating how far Nama has helped us. Whether it is making me to see positive things, anything positive. Probably we can take it, yes, the remembrance is there, because everything happens by His will, so everything has to be positive only. So even in a so-called negative state, we might be able to bring in this as we keep on reading In Quest of God number of times, how He is transforming every incident into a positive one. In 2 years' time, with the help of Ramnam, he was able to master. And to test it, he threw himself out, relying only on him. And then God put him on various tests. At the same time, he was able to accept everything in a positive way, positive way, positive way. So we get a clue from that. So that means our outer, Papa says, Ramnam helps you to purify your mind. Only in a purified heart, you will be able to remember him. These are all his words. So what does it mean to me? I keep on asking. Purity means what? Purity means we can understand the me and mine. If it is not there, it is purity. So we try to now bringing all these, listing all these, not for others. Each one will try now to ask these questions and then try to get an answer. Devotee asks, I should like to hear from Papa more about Japa Yoga, say about the conditions of Japa Yoga. Papa, Japa means constant repetition of God's name. The chief condition necessary for Japa Yoga is a keen aspiration to know and realize God. The chief condition necessary for Japa Yoga is a keen aspiration to know and realize God. Given this, the person who is on the spiritual path will go on taking his name with all love and joy. By so doing, he will thoroughly purify his mind, make it transparent so that God within him may shine forth and absorb him into his all-pervading, all-transcendent being of splendor, peace, power, wisdom. So a keen aspiration to realize God is the only necessary condition. We'll again read, so many points are there. Japa means constant repetition of God's name. Chief condition necessary for Japa Yoga is a keen aspiration to know and realize God. That is remembrance. Given this, the person who is on the spiritual path will go on taking his name with all love and joy. By so doing, he will thoroughly purify his mind, make it transparent. What does it mean?
Our actions should be crystal clear.
Yeah. Not only action, no?
Yes.
Thought.
Action, thinking, everything.
Thought, word, and action.
Thought, word, and deed.
So whether it is tainted by me and mine, that means whatever comes, that comes out in the real form.
Yes.
That is transparent, innocent, childlike. Very difficult. So still, then we should try and bring out in our own method how to make it transparent while we are engaged in various types of activities. Thoroughly purify his mind, make it transparent so that God within him may shine forth and absorb him into his all-pervading being of splendor, peace, power, and wisdom. By constantly repeating the name of God who resides in our heart, gradually we should become conscious of him. That consciousness purifies our heart, fills our mind and senses with a strange, powerful light of the divine, which eradicates all the low desires lurking within us. Ultimately, we become perfectly conscious that God is dwelling within us. This is the greatest gain. By such remembrance, we become aware of his light and his power within us. By constantly repeating the name of God who resides in our heart, gradually we become conscious of him. Here most of us are struggling because, we have treated him as separate, So how to become conscious of him, We want to become conscious of him. So the struggle is considering him, when we say him, considering him as separate from us now. So with that, we try, so he is always away from us. So we have to employ some other method. Is that clear?
Yes, Swami. Yes, Swami. That's right.
Everybody is keeping quiet?
Yes, most of the time we are conscious that we are chanting something, but nothing happens there.
No, what we mean is, we think that we have to remember him. We are chanting the name of one who is within me, who is making me to chant. All these things unknowingly separates us from him. Could that be the reason why, in spite of doing, we are not still aware of his presence? If so, how will it transform? That even this very doubt, even this very fine-tuning our process is caused by him. He is not separate from me. So where should I begin this? So while chanting, should I bring some other dimension like this? Only each and every person will know this. Because otherwise we have heard all these things through Papa, Where are we now? We have been hearing all these things for so many decades. We remember Shuddhananda Swamiji's oft repeated, donkey's ears. What is happening to us? This is a fundamental question for people who are following Ram, who are enjoying Ram now. No? The purpose is now Papa keeps on hammering this. Okay, you have been doing all these things, you have been lucky enough to get it habituated, you enjoy during the chanting. To a very great extent, you have been leading a disciplined life, simple life. You are trying to make yourself useful to as many as possible. All these plus points, tick, 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 tick. But the final question, are we remembering him? So something more is needed. Not that whatever we have gained is in vain. Everything is a plus point.
Swamiji, our remembrance is limited only to the external form of Papa, nothing else, Swamiji.
That could also be one of the reasons. That could also be one of the reasons. Nothing wrong in concentrating on the external form with the feeling that it represents the nameless, formless aspect. Nothing wrong. But at the same time, we should know. Then only it becomes universal truth, Before 1884, whom we call as Papa was not there. Or till 1930, 1928, 28, 29, till Mataji started calling him Papa, and when he became universal Papa, before that, the world was there. After 1963, the world is there. But it was through that form we were made aware of all these things. So we are comfortable and feel comfortable when we say Papa is behind everything. Perfectly right. Then a little more thinking will definitely say he has been there, he is there. Probably that is why you all remember we have been telling that on September 1963 in the vision, Pujya Mataji mentioned this. Omnipresent Papa's ashram is the whole universe. To know that, he has set up this Ananda ashram. Every day she wanted us to chant, O beginningless and endless Param Pujya Papa. So that while retaining our reverence to that form, we are also trying to connect ourselves to the nameless, formless reality. Mataji, because to Mataji, this was the reality. She was able to define Papa as Nirguna Nirakara Shashwata, Nirvigara Shashwata Ananda Swarup. At the same time, she was having the same reverence, affection, surrender, everything to the form of Papa. She was able to bring the two dimensions together. So that we will also try, So nothing wrong even if we hold on to that charming figure. Gradually we will try to understand that this figure is showing a light to the nameless, formless aspect. Every day we are asked to chant in the bhajan hall, at the time of Arati. So that we get connected to that also. While we perform the Arati, while we offer the flowers to that form, perform Arati before that form, we are again affirming to ourselves that this form also represents the beginningless and endless Param Pujya Papa, you are all pervading, you are manifested as the entire universe and you reside in everything. These words, enable us to connect. So let us not belittle the form. The form has gone. Through that form only we all were made to think on these forms, on these lines. That is why we have shared, Pujya Swamiji's words of while he prostrates before Papa, he closes his eyes and he was telling us, I am chanting before the nameless, formless aspect whose presence has been made known to me through this form. I'm chanting it. I am prostrating before. I'm prostrating before the indwelling and all-pervading reality. I am prostrating before the indwelling and all-pervading reality, whose presence has been made known to me through this form. Otherwise, how will I know? But at the same time, connecting. Because when he asked Sakara
and Nirakara.
Sakara and Nirakara. Sakara and Nirakara.
So that is that point, of course, valid. All of us definitely develop our reverence toward that form. And whether we mean it or not, automatically the word will come. By Papa's will, by Papa's grace. If somebody drops the body, we say, called by Papa, joined Papa. All these words we use, whether we mean it rightly or wrong. At that time, we should know that we are thinking about the nameless, formless aspect, because now he is not there in the form. Papa should guide us, Papa should do this, Papa has been graceful to take me, by Papa's grace I got over. These are all the words we all use, normally. While we know fully well that he is not there in the form. So we have a methodology which got evolved by itself unknowingly, that even in the absence of his form, we can connect ourselves to that form. You have to put some name now. Papa was able to say Ram. Mataji said, when you say Ram is distant, if I use Papa, it is closer. So Papa said, if you mean that, you can use that word. Papa you can use. And Mataji was able to balance it, retaining the reverence to the form, getting connected to the nameless, formless aspect, that is the universal consciousness. Now coming back to Ram Nam chanting again, we are trying to evaluate, we are trying to ask ourselves how to reach the stage where we remember him while chanting, and the effect of which will remain after chanting. So along with so many disciplines which all of us are following, what is to be added?
Audit, self-audit.
Self-audit. It is necessary.
Yes, when somebody is established in God consciousness,
Somebody is established in God consciousness.
is it a permanent state or do they still need to remember?
When somebody is established in God consciousness, is it a permanent state or should they do something?
We have been told that it is like, you learn the cycling or swimming. When you get the balance, you will never lose it. Because it is not a thing that is coming from outside. Balancing comes from inside, When you keep on, you fall, you again try, you fall, you again try. But it does not come from outside. What has been inside has been touched and kindled, and it has come to express itself. And once it comes to express itself, it will not go. That is the litmus test. So all of us are doing cycling, not cycling. What is it? Learning to cycle. Learning to do cycling. To get the balance, to get grounded, which he could do in 2 years. Unfortunately, even after 30, 40, 50 years, we still fall down. The me and mine comes, that is falling,
Swamiji, Mataji, Papa, they were all already at a very high level. So 2 years They could stay there.
They are already me.
Papa didn't have a farm to remember, Swamiji.
Huh?
Papa didn't have a farm to remember, but if we have a Papa farm to remember.
Papa
Form,
had a form to
Papa was not attached to any form.
Ajay, if we know the reason, when we know the reason why he could do it and why we are not doing it, are we making any attempt to have that?
From the end of that, if Papa's figure is stamped in our brain, Swamiji, we are unable to do anything without Papa's brain.
Okay.
Swamiji, Papa, Mataji, Swamiji, and yourself, all of you are at a high level. So it was easy to take you to higher. It's your task for us to take us to that stage.
When we were asking,
Raw material, Swamiji, you have to really do something to us.
no.
With all Mahatma's great, we are trying to get mukti daily.
With all Mahatma's blessings, we are trying to get mukti daily. We are trying it daily.
Good. No, we are all trying, no doubt about it. Absolutely no doubt about it. Otherwise, why will we sit now, 3:30 to 4:30? The very fact that we are trying to hear all these things is a confirmation that we are dead earnest. But some fine-tuning somewhere it is necessary. That we want to do it, we are unable to do it. No, that is the only thing. By His grace, He has taken us so far, but still some distraction is there.
So you hammer us.
Which is what Papa is doing every day. We, during the year-end program, we were prompted to take up the book with my master. Every now and then we should read that. For 10 minutes, okay. What were you lecturing about to that person, an old lady devotee from South, who had come to a visit to the ashram this morning? Papa was asking Mataji. My usual refrain, replied Mataji with a short laugh. I was just telling her what was the use of coming to this place, prostrating before you and saying you were theirs and so on, if nobody cared the least to follow your teachings. Papa remained silent for some time, then said to Mataji, what is the use of your dinning this into their ears again and again, when they do not care much about it themselves? Who wants God realization nowadays? They talk about it, they like to hear Ramdas talk about it, but who will put the least effort? They will go to any pains for a worldly object like a desirable son-in-law, a new business contract, a new job, things like that. But when it comes to giving a little time to remember God and meditate on God, they are too busy. Papa must show God to them. That is what they say. Oh yes, Papa would be only too happy to show God to them, but they must have eyes to see. How can Papa, with all the goodwill on earth, show them God when their eyes are set only on worldly pleasures? There are limits to even that a Papa can do. He cannot catch hold of their tufts of hair, turn their faces in the direction of God. Though in one or two cases, because of Ram's prompting, Ramdas has even gone to these limits to bring some by force, as it were, in Godward direction. But those are rare cases where Ram made Ramdas act in this manner, perhaps because there was no hope otherwise for those persons. They were destined by their prarabdha to sink lower and lower in the mires of worldliness, and Ram made Ramdas to go to their rescue. Ramdas cannot act in such a fashion in everybody's case. They must show some inclination at least to want God. That is all Ramdas asks of them. Show some desire to see God. Ramdas will do the rest.
1%.
Eh?
1%.
Some desire. But even this desire is absent. When there is so much wealth to be garnered, such fineries to be owned, so many cinemas to be seen, who has time for God? But someday, but there is a hope. Papa has given us some hope. Someday, they too will realize what they have been missing in their lives all along. That's what we are all now struggling, you know. Ram will give them that realization. Sooner or later, the seed of God realization will take root in their lives, blossom forth to fruition. Till then, they are destined to go through all the cycles of pleasure and pain, ups and downs. Ram's will be done. Ramdas has done all that he can. He has shown them the straight and easy path to be trodden upon. He has cleared for them all the hurdles and stumbling stones on the way. They will take up the first step when God prompts them. Whether this will happen when Ramdas is physically here or not is in Ram's hands. So this we have to keep on thinking about it. Anyway, at least we will read this. When Ram, on another occasion when Papa similarly uttered Ram's will be done and disarmingly explained that Ram made him say it, I asked God in turn, will Ram never stop these interruptions? Never, said Papa firmly. He is Ramdas's constant companion. But what Ram says is in fact, is a fact, you know, his will alone matters. Then Papa recited the lines composed by him many years ago, which are now familiar to every devotee. Behold, Ram's will alone is supreme. Bend and bow to that will. Come what may, it is Ram who does all. And he does all for our good. For Ram is kind, Ram is love, Ram means always well. Then Shuddhanandaji asked, what is his will now? Papa looked at me with a quizzical smile and replied, his will is that after tea, Ramdas should go to the carpenter's shed, see the work that is going on, come over to Panchavadi, take short stroll, and then sit in the chair and await in the evening meal. And then Ram's will be done. So that means linking with now and here. No?
Swami, not to leave away things as trivial matters or important or something, nothing else.
That means we are not trying to bring the will dimension. No? It is the will dimension that is there we are trying to realize. Now these words are coming because he has willed it. The hand is moving because he has willed it. This should be there at least in the subtle level, may not be at the gross level. Some discipline by which we get stabilized in this. When we go to when we sit before a program, either before the TV or when we go for anything, we get immersed in that program. At that time, we can say that our body consciousness is not there. In between, suppose an ant or a mosquito comes and sits, immediately what happens? Immediately we look at it and remove it. No? Now we are trying to analyze. Though at the gross level the body consciousness was not there, at the subtle level the body consciousness is there. That is why the moment an ant or an insect or something it stands, you get disturbed, it is reported immediately. Similarly, by our discipline, we become aware of his hand, of him. We become aware of him throughout our thought, word and deed. Not at the gross level, agreed. We are talking to somebody. not in the way in which we understand this will, no. Lot of clarity has to come as to how to put this in the day-to-day life. We are becoming one with whatever that is going on at the mental level, physical level, intellectual level. We are becoming one with it. And with suppose our discipline enables us by constantly thinking. You are chanting the name of one who is within you, who is making you to chant. You are chanting the name of one who is the core of your being. Like that, when we keep on doing it, behind every thought, every word, every deed, it comes from that core of the being. If that slowly gets that, then it stays at the subconscious level, at the subtle level, always, while it may not be in that form at the grosser level. Anytime we violate, immediately the corrective steps come. And here is a testimony before us, Papa's life, who gives it us how to know this. What is his will now? Ramdas will now get up, go to the carpenter's shed, supervise, come back, sit in the Panchavati, and then wait for the meal. That means that is the routine, no? That is the next work he is going to do. There he feels it is being piloted by, articulated by, motivated by that power. We get some clues, the more you think about it. So that is why through Ramnam we are trying to train our mind to become one with it. So while doing Ramnam, suppose if we try to understand the real meaning of remembrance, real meaning of the will of God, real meaning of the word grace, it might help us. Let us try. During our Satsang nowadays, he is bent upon putting us on the line. Today we told you, just before we got up from the seat, that was the topic. So he gives us the clue. This is important. You have been chanting all these days. Yeah.
At least he's holding us now.
Eh?
He has got hold of us.
He is, no doubt about it. And we are looking here. He wants us to do this. So Vivekanand Sharma was telling about that form, We can bring that form, so that there's a joy in it, There's a joy in it. Papa agreed, I am not looking at you. Still I am looking at something else. Why don't you please force me to look at you?
Swamiji, the great smile of Papa is there while we do Aradhana.
Huh?
I had that experience in our ashram in Chennai, Padappai. While I was asked to just do Aradhana. When I was doing Aradhana, Papa's smile came, just as it is. I was thrilled. I don't know how to take it.
We have,
his own original smile has come in.
We have to now see whether the remembrance stays with us. If that is not there, we have to keep. Whether it stays with us permanently, then only we know we have got the balance.
Yes.
Otherwise, some fleeting glimpses he has given to test us.
Yes.
We should not be satisfied with that.
No.
What we are aiming at is a stage where even these very words, this hearing, this talking, whether we feel whether it is coming from him or ordained by him, it need not necessarily be in the way in which somebody understands. We should understand in our own way.
Yes.
now when we Papa says God's will be done, we try to understand it externally, na? That is why we are not in a position to understand it. We should understand it in the way in which it can be understood by us. Nobody can help from outside.
Yes.
If it can help, all these teachings are enough, People who have realized everything. All realized souls have given their revelation. We have been reading, exposing, reproducing. But where are we now? So that means each one has to develop a method, a methodology for oneself, suiting to one's equipment, and find the explanation in the way in which it can be understood by us.
Yes, sir.
So today he is giving us 2-3 words. That is the core of my being. He is making me to chant. He is within us. His will alone prevails. The balance. Tomorrow is 16th. 15. Day after tomorrow is Pujya Mataji's Samadhi Day. Of course, we will be sharing the same thoughts. There, Pujya Swamiji, while delivering a message somewhere in 90 or 91, he said, Mataji's all activities were grounded on this cosmic consciousness, universal consciousness. Everything was based upon it. So that is the clue given to us. Outwardly, Mataji may be taking somebody into task. She may be going out of the way to help somebody. All those things are like any ordinary individual. But everything is rooted in that universal consciousness.
Sure.
So we may be able to remember those words, but that what is universal consciousness, that I should know myself, not the literal meaning. Those words convey something which is very sublime, very subtle. I must be able to understand that meaning. Just like if somebody says this is sweet, or whatever they may say, it is like this particular sweet, that. Unless and until I eat, I will not be able to know that it is the sweetness. And then I will be able to enjoy it only when I eat. So many people may say so many things about that. Somebody who has eaten uppitu, what is it called? Oppitu. Then they will say, somebody may say it is like sugar cane. Somebody may say it is like peda. Somebody may say it is like sata. All those things are right. But unless and until I eat, then only I will get the proper impression. So similarly, all these words are there. But unless I try to go within, take it within, experiment within, then only I will be able to know the real meaning of it. So today Papa is asking us to do that. These words, I am chanting the name of one who is within me. I am chanting the name of one who is the core of my being. I am chanting the name of one who is motivated by him. Like that, whatever. And his will alone prevails.
Right.
Like that, some words we try to understand, literally we try to understand. But then we try to understand what does it convey to me. That inward journey. Please think about it, and then day after tomorrow, when we observe the Mahasamadhi day of Param Pujya Mataji, she will be very happy when she comes to know that we are taking this sadhana seriously. So we will try our level best. Even from today onward, not remembering what is our impression about Mataji. Let us shift that to, it is all grounded on universal consciousness. How will I try to get that consciousness? This should be there in our heart. This time, Mataji prompted us to concentrate upon this aspect. Because her whole life is grounded on universal consciousness. How am I to go near that, Her Samadhi day, the moment I hear about Samadhi of Mataji, it is not the physical form or the physical part of the Samadhi that I should be concerned with now. My concern with now is what Mataji expects us to live. How she is expecting us to live as Papa's spiritual children. So we are trying. So day after tomorrow when we meet, let this be there. We will try to read some article. Pujya Swamiji had delivered that article and something in Mataji's own words. We will try. Not for reading, not for repeating it. Some effort on our part. Some effort on our part to, when we in the long jump or high jump when we were in school days, we will first do, whatever is possible. Then we will stretch it. So similarly, in our own little limited way, we will try. We may not be able to reach it immediately, but we will keep on trying. And let all these important days give us a push towards that, not to get stuck anywhere. That is the real purpose of all this. Observing Mahasamadhi Day or celebrating Jayanti, because they don't need any celebration or observation. Nothing like that. They want all of us to live on that higher level. That is their mission. In one of the talks, Papa clearly mentioned, this ashram is meant only for all of us. For Ramdas and Krishna, he said, we would have left like children. Nothing is there needed for them, na? Both of them had reached that stage. So many things happen. So they would like to lose themselves. But when God willed that so many of us, for the past 93 years, who have been getting thousands and thousands and thousands of people from India and abroad, when they are to be put on that line, then God has to make Papa to agree to have an ashram. This we should have always remember. It is for us they have come. They have set up this ashram. And they have drawn us here. And tried to make us aware. To some extent, all of us have been made aware, no doubt about it. But they are not satisfied with our progress. That is why through so many thoughts, they are prompting us, speed up, hasten. Wherever loose ends are there, tighten it. Attune yourself. Fine-tuning should keep on. Finally, you will declare to yourself, yes, he is. He and me are one. Or he only is. I am not there. When we declare that, yes, that is the destination we have reached. So with that bhavana, we will try to spend the next 1 or 2 days, and then with that bhavana, we will observe the Mahasamadhi day of Pujya Mataji. Hari Om. More about it on day after tomorrow. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri